Hey guys, if you don't know me, my name is Kraynak, and I'm a senior in high school. Today I have the exciting chance to share with you some of the artwork I've been creating throughout high school. But before that, I just wanted to give a little bit of background information on myself. Like I said, I'm a senior in high school, but next year I will be attending Kent State University, studying history and anthropology. But I know art will always be a part of my life in some way, shape, or form. So let's get started. So this is a monotype that went to the Ohio Youth Governor Show a couple years back. Below that we have a scribble portrait I did of my twin sister. Then we have some stylized portraits in mixed media. Coming onto this other wall, we see some gouache color studies and landscapes, and a watercolor figure there. At the top here are two monotypes from the same series called A Ballerina's Duality. There's the gray, more rough-looking one, and the blue, more polished-looking one. Below that is a series of monotypes I made of my grandfather. It's a series of 3, and as it progresses, each image becomes a little bit more abstracted. Above that is a monotype series made from contours, and as you can see, the background is all writing. It was all stream of consciousness writing. Below that is one of my favorite Prismacolor pieces. It's titled Disgusting because most people aren't a huge fan of the actual image it portrays. And this was at the Ohio Youth Governor's exhibition a few years ago. On this half of the wall, it's more about my portfolio, which centered around fairy tales and folklore. Here is a fairy with hair made of moss, and I individually drew out each flower in the moss. Beside that is another fairy whose dress is all made out of flowers. Below that is another aspect of my portfolio, which was color study and deciding where to put color. And this piece incorporates animals from a larger piece that we'll see a little bit later. Below it are another piece from my portfolio and a piece from Inktober. Here is the animal piece I had mentioned earlier. I'm actually going to cut away from the video and do some close-up photos of the animals, just because the pieces themselves are actually pretty small, but I did incorporate a good amount of detail into each one. I tried to incorporate a darker element into each piece, be it a bug or ropes or hooks or something like that, just to sort of reflect the darker tone that a lot of fairy tales take on. Below the animal piece is a crosshatch drawing I made sophomore year, entirely out of pen. Next to that are some watercolor works. This one is called Persephone, based on the tragic thrill song and the myth. And this is just a brevity of some radishes. Over here is a quick watercolor of a stork and another little watercolor figure. There's a sock monkey I made in middle school and a few pillows I've made. On this wall are some jackets that I've embroidered and painted. This one is called Redacted, and it is commentary on the media's censorship of women. Below that is a more silly type jacket, and it has some custom-made patches and a painting that I did in remembrance of the raid on Area 51. So this is a quote from one of my favorite authors. Her name is Leigh Bardugo. I would suggest pausing the video real quick so you can read it, but this quote basically sums up why I like to create. I like to find the magic in ordinary life. This is a project I did for cartooning. It was a text project. It's actually 3D, but you can't really tell. This is a gouache portrait of Queen and icon Audrey Hepburn. Below that is a charcoal self-portrait I did sophomore year. And beneath that is a watercolor and pen piece inspired by Cavetown's song Lemon Boy. On this wall, I've pinned up some of the awards I've gotten throughout high school, and these are mostly from the Governor's Show and the Scholastic Art Awards, and there's my certificate of membership to National Art Honor Society. And this is actually a good time to mention. One of the pieces I made junior year, it's one of my favorites, it's called Freshly Wrapped, is actually at the Governor's Show right now, so I'll include a picture of that so that you can see it. This piece in the center is one of my favorites. I've been working on it. It's almost like a continuous project where I pin portraits that I create onto this canvas. And the portraits range from watercolor to gouache to acrylic to pencil. It's really everything. And I just feel like it really represents how when you live your life, you come into contact and influence people in so many ways that you don't even know. So I really like how they kind of overlap, because to me it demonstrates how all of our lives overlap and connect. Underneath that are some ribbons from previous Revere High School art shows, mostly from junior year. These are a few book covers that I've painted. The green one is my collection of Grimm fairy tales, and this one is Maggie Stave-Vatter's The Raven Boys. These are some patches I've embroidered. And then on this side of the table are my sketchbooks, and I actually filmed some quick flip-throughs through my sketchbook. They're not narrated, but hate to say it, they are linked in the description below if you want to see what is in my sketchbook. This is my current sketchbook, another Audrey Hepburn appearance there, and there's a flip through of that too. I also made a video showing some digital art I worked on this past year. Here is a pumpkin with a Bob Ross painting on it that I created, and there's also a rock with a Bob Ross painting. Shout out to my AP Lit kids. And these are some more art awards. In front of my cleverly covered kitchen is my dress form, and on the front of it is a necklace I made with Thomas Jefferson's face kind of blacked out, and it represents the sedition acts from the Revolutionary era. And then also on the dress form is a scarf that I knitted. Coming up on our final wall, this first painting on the top is inspired by one of my favorite artists, John William Godward, and beside that is a gouache self-portrait. This is a piece from my portfolio, again playing with color and animals. This is a watercolor brevity of some rocks. Beneath that is an acrylic painting called A Young Corporate Beast. And then here's a brevity of some plants. Up top there is a self-portrait done on black canvas with acrylic washes. Underneath it is a watercolor of a deer on craft paper. Beneath that are some more paintings from my portfolio. And above that is a watercolor and pen piece I made freshman year, which is super detailed. It took forever. yeah, and that's pretty much it. This is my little at-home online art booth. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.